Hello and welcome. I am Scrapperlock, and this is City of Heroes. We are with our final chapters, our last million or so XP, million and a quarter of this character, trying to get to level 50. And we are on a story arc for who is it now? Maria Jenkins. I keep wanting to say Tina McIntyre, but Tina's over here. And so, yeah, we just forgot to turn everything on after overload. So we are doing the ninth chapter. There, I think, are 10 or 12 of these. So we might finish the story arc today. Don't know. Don't think we're gonna hit level 50 today. It'll probably be one more episode. I think we'll probably do at least one more episode, but we'll see what happens depending on how long I play and how much XP we get and all the rest of that. So we're now trying to find positron. And oh, I didn't bring extra inspiration, so we'll have to see if we can collect them. Oh yes, we get another little buddy. This is an annoying mission if I remember right. I feel like the final battle is against somebody who teleports and runs around a lot, so that could be frustrating. Where are we going here? Oh, we're going this way, I guess. There's a lot of fog in some of these missions. I'm not sure how to get rid of it. I tried doing the viz scale, but that doesn't do anything to the fog. I don't know if there's a setting I can get rid of. So somebody was saying, I mentioned these annoying, like with the NPCs following you around, and how it's annoying as a stalker, and somebody said that's why they're there, right? You can't stalk the mission because, or as I call it, right? You can't stalk the mission because Ms. Liberty here is going to aggro everything in sight. And this is why I tend to avoid these story arcs, but Crimson would not give me his. And we were already on this one before I realized what it was. Why am I at 50% to hit? And you know, one of the things I've noticed with this character a couple of times I've been debuffed, or the enemy has put on some sort of a buff that has reduced my to hit to 50%, and I just have whiff streaks. It's almost like now that I have the ability to be capped, if I'm not capped, I just miss. I know that's not actually happening, but it sure feels like it. I don't know which way to go here. So we'll just wander. Not worrying about keeping Miss Liberty alive. She can live or die. That's, you know, up to her. She got martial arts? Or is she a super strength? She's throwing lightning around too, isn't she? She has a weird set of powers. Absolutely, they won't follow your lead either. Anyway, as we go, I haven't talked about D&D for a while, Dungeons & Dragons, but I want to talk about it a little bit because I like to say I told you so, not to you guys, but to Wizards of the Coast. When they first decided to make a new edition of Dungeons & Dragons that was set to come out for the 50th anniversary in 2024, they insisted that it wasn't going to be a new edition. And when we called it 5e, no, we called it, so current edition was then 5th edition, 5e. When people were calling it 6e or 5.5e, they actually got infraction points on the forum. I know because a friend of mine did for calling it 6e. He got infraction points for saying, guys, you know, whatever they call it, it's a new edition. This is 6e. And he literally got infraction points. He used to get infraction points over a lot of things, so I think they were just looking for an excuse, but because he would argue with people on the forums. But yeah, when he just made posts about other things and referred to it as 6e, and he got infraction points. You're not allowed to say that. It's not what they're calling it. At first, what was it? It was one D&D. There's only one version of D&D. One D&D. There are no additions. They tried to do this before, too, with 4th edition. They just called it Dungeons & Dragons, right? They weren't going to call it an edition. And the players called it 4th edition. Until eventually all of their documents said 4th edition, right? Because what are you going to do? That's what players were calling it at that point. So, so I was calling it 6th edition. Other people are calling it 5.5th edition, right after what happened with 3rd edition and then 3.5. Wizards kept saying, no, it's not another edition. It's just an update. It's fully compatible with the previous version. It's not a whole other edition. All lies. It's not fully compatible. They eventually admitted, or well, they stated the compatibility. What the compatibility is that you can use the old modules. If you're a GM, you can use the modules. You can't use anything else, right? Characters, they don't go together from one edition to another unless you really do some fudging. They made feats required instead of optional. Everybody gets a feat at first level as part of their background or whatever race. I don't remember how they did it because I never actually played 5.5th edition or whatever you want to call it. So why can I not hit these guys with 50% chance to hit? That's ridiculous. So yeah, they were giving people infraction points on the forum. They were telling them not to call it these other things. It's one D&D, right? And then one D&D died because one D&D was going to be there's one place to play D&D, the only place to play D&D on Wizards of the Coast's website. They tried to, with the OGL scandal, make it so that you weren't allowed to run D&D online anywhere else. They tried to create a walled garden that only they could control. They wanted to control it all. One D&D, as the saying goes, one D&D to rule them all, right? Somebody took the whole, the thing from Lord of the Rings. 3 rings for the Elven Kings under the sky. 7 for the Dwarf Lords in their halls of stone. Oh, there's Infernal. Hang on. Alright, he's an elite boss, so we're gonna... What are you doing? Stop playing around, Miss Liberty. Alright, we're gonna try using these guys on him because we have her help. And we'll see how we do. She aggroed him, that's pretty good. Nope. We're gonna need overload. Where were we? 9 for the mortal men doomed to die, 1 ring to rule them all, 1 ring to bind them. Right, 9 for the mortal men doomed to die, 1 for the Dark Lord on his dark throne, 1 ring to rule them all, 1 ring to find them, 1 ring to bring them all, and in the darkness bind them. Yes, I can do that from memory, guys. I am a Lord of the Rings nut. So, somebody made up a thing, like so many editions, 3 editions for the millennials or whatever. I can't remember how he did it. 7 campaign books and 9 this and so on and so forth, and then 1 D&D to rule them all, 1 D&D to find them, 1 D&D to bring them all, and in the darkness bind them. I don't know if we're going to be able to beat Diabolique before my overload runs out, but let's try it. Try to do a little extra damage. This is not the encounter that I remembered. I wonder if it's just random where you meet her in here. Because I remember fighting her in a room full of pipes. And having a heck of a time trying to jump her as she was jumping all over the place. There she goes. Look at, you see what she's doing? It's almost buggy how fast she's going. Like, she shouldn't be able to move that fast. Anyway, so somebody made a joke that turned into one D&D to rule them all. They wanted to do that. It died. It blew up. One D&D isn't going to work, guys. We're going to shut it down. And instead, we're going to turn it into D&D Beyond and make a really cool 3D virtual tabletop in D&D Beyond. And that will be one D&D to rule them all. And then they shut that down. Last year? Fall? I can't remember. Summer? Fall? I don't remember exactly when they shut that down. After publishing in 2024 the new edition, which they didn't call a new edition. Instead of calling it 1 D&D, because that died, they called it D&D 2024. Nobody called it that. It's too hard to type all that. It's easier to type 6E versus 5E, or 5.5E versus 5E, right? So I said all along, they're not going to get to decide what this is called. Just like with 4th edition, when they didn't want it to be called an edition and the players called it 4th edition, the players have been calling it 5.5E, I guess, all along, right? That it's not a completely new edition because all the basic game systems are there. They just mix and match things around enough that you can't really play a party of characters made up in both 5e and 5.5e without a lot of kludging around. You can't really do that. And it's sort of irrelevant that the old modules can be played under the new system because, as one GM pointed out, yeah, but the problem is even with basic with the early 5e modules and later 5e, when you add in all of the updates and all of the things that they gave the player characters because of power creep, the older monsters are too weak. So if you play like Tyranny of Dragons and some of these older ones, you have to buff the encounters or the players are just going to crush them. And so yeah, realistically, even 5e wasn't entirely compatible with itself in terms of all of the encounter designs and stuff in the older modules, because the player characters have things in the newer version of 5e that they didn't have in the older one. So he said, never mind 5.5e where there's even more power creep. None of those encounters are going to be usable if you want to have anything other than a walkover. So anyway, players have been calling it 5.5e on the forums. Apparently enough of them that they stopped banning them. And just last week, I think, or earlier this week, they just recently announced they're officially calling it 5.5e now, 2 years after publishing it, year and a half after publishing it, under the banner 2024, and saying it's not a new edition. They're now admitting it's a new edition, edition 5.5e. Right? I just love this. It's just hilarious. And I really want to like laugh in the face of the evil moderator who is banning people and giving them infraction points for saying it was a new edition, and say, guess what? We were right. I told you guys, it's a new edition. Nobody is going to call it D&D 2024. So we need to defeat Dominatrix, Marauder, and find Positron. This one we can stalk. And the reason I'm doing this is because we only have a little over a bead left. And I was hoping to get at least another episode out of this character. Now, of course, I can play her at 50, but if we finish the story arc and we hit 50, that's it. I still haven't gotten... Oh, there she is. I still haven't gotten the set on this power. I really should have done that. Oh, man. You know what, guys? We still have some... We need to wait for overload anyway. Let's go out. I'm going to pause it. I'm not going to make you guys watch this. We're going to go out, and I'm going to grab Red Fortune and at least put it in here so that we can have it for a mission or two. Because if this thing finishes the story arc and we get story arc XP plus mission XP, we might level. I don't think we will, but we might. And I'd like to use Red Fortune at least once before we retire this character. we'll probably go on a level 50 mission, but I'm not going to start another story arc with her. So give me a chance to. Where am I stuck? Give me a chance to head to the base and do that, and I will bring you guys back when I've got Red Fortune all set. All right, so folks, we're back. I just wanted to show you what I'm doing here. We only have 5 slots. Red Fortune takes 6. We may or may not want to worry about this 6 slot. This is the endurance one. I don't know that we need that. Or actually, no. Let's see. Let's pull off endurance recharge. We don't need that. We do want the endurance reduction. So to start with, let's just take a look what we've got, right? We have 60% for our defenses and plus 34% for our endurance, right? And if we look at the endurance one here, this is 42%, so that's already going to be enough. So we don't really need this one. I also want to point out, which one was it? The defense. I bought this as a crafted enhancement because the recipe had been selling for about $1 million. I tried bidding $1 million, $1.1 million, $1.2 million, $1.3 million, all the way up to $1.9 million, $2 million, and it wasn't going. And when I looked at the crafted was like 2.1. So I guess I bought it for like 2.25 mil. Like I may as well buy the crafted one if the recipe's going to cost more, right? So that's what we're going to use. So we're going to rip these out. And we're going to put these guys in. And there we go. So we now have back to 60% defense. We have 46% research time and 87% endurance reduction. So we actually don't need this 6th one, but we will go ahead and put it on there just to finish out the set at level 50. So now we have Red Fortune going. It's not going to change that much. Although I think our recharge time has helped a bit. But I just wanted you guys to see that. So now if we just take a look at our character here, we have all the sets we are going to have. Right, other than I don't have anything on Midnight Grasp. I just never got around to it, and I think it's okay. This is fine, and we have plenty of good sets on this character, and now we're going to go fight maybe some of our last couple of battles, because these elite bosses are worth huge XP. And so between that and the mission XP, and if we get it the story arc XP, I think we could very well be looking at this character's final story arc. I really wish it had been Worldwide Red, but I couldn't get Crimson to give it to me. I don't know if you have to do a different quest before getting it to unlock in addition to being level 48. I don't recall that. I know at one point I was trying to get him to give me missions and I was level like 46, and I was like, why won't he give him? Why won't he give him? When I looked it up, I read somewhere that he does level 48 and above. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'm 49. There shouldn't be any level gated content for this character at this point, right? Because you can't go above this level. One more, I'm like 2 beats from the end. I should have everything unlocked. Other than like incarnate trials maybe and stuff. Okay, so here is Dominatrix. I remember her being tough. Marauder is tougher. Okay, so we're going super jump. We're going overload. And we're going to assassinate. Here we go. Throw on hasten. She is pretty tough defensively, but she doesn't do, as my recollection is, she doesn't do a huge amount of damage. What you really need to do is stand in a long time to pound her because she has good resistance. She did a DOT that interrupted me. I didn't realize she laid it on me until it was too late. I do, by the way, like in Gravity all the like junk that they can throw at you. It's really cool. Throwing tables and chairs and pipes and all kinds of neat stuff. Yeah, we did fine against her. So yeah, getting back to Dungeons and Dragons, like this is what I keep saying. The guys who develop the game cannot decide what players call the game, how players use the game, what players do once they're in the game. This is actually one of the problems D&D has, right? Is that they can't control it once it gets out into the wild amongst the players, right? And they want to control it. I've said this in an earlier episode that the Wizards of the Coast guys, they want to control the experience that you have playing D&D because that's how they can make sure that new players don't have an unpleasant experience, that they have a great experience. But that's largely dependent on the other players and the game master. And you cannot control them. And it's one of the reasons they want to go electronic. They want to have, right? They're talking about AI, and the head of is it head of Hasbro or WotC? Head of Hasbro is a big AI proponent, and I think one of the things they want to do is have an AI that can GM for you. And the advantage of that is they can program the AI to act the way they want it to act, to do what they want it to do, and therefore they don't have the weak link of the game master, who may or may not run the game in a way that WotC would like it to be run. Right? You have a bad experience playing D&D with a really bad GM, and you might not ever want to play D&D again, and there go all their sales. The joys of a stalker. I can wander around, and nobody can stop me. Nobody can see me. I'm hidden. Hidden with a capital H in all green letters. There's Posy. Where's Marauder? I recollect this being a pretty tough fight, too. So I think we're going to just start in on these guys, because we got to take 3 minutes and 15 seconds anyway. That is a cool effect, by the way. So many effects are awesome in this game. But yeah, once the players get hold of a thing, there's Marauder. Once the players get a hold of a thing, it's really darn hard to make them use it the way you envisioned as the designer, right? The players are going to do what they want with the game. Even in a digital game like this, right? Players find ways to do stuff that devs didn't want or envision them doing. And you can sometimes put code in to stop it, but it's really darn hard, and it's often fighting a losing battle. Think about this game. There were no bases. There were supergroups, but there were no bases when the game went live, right? And my group wanted to roleplay that we had a base. So it was really easy to do. We just roleplayed it, right? We went to a rooftop. The building, I don't think it's there anymore. There was, maybe I'll have to go see when we go. Somebody remind me. Now I'm gonna try to remember. I'll see if I can take you there. There used to be a building right behind the railroad station that was fairly low. It had a nice flat rooftop, and it was fairly low, so that people with super jump could easily get to it. I don't know if the people with I don't know if the I think we used to teleport the super speeders up there because they couldn't get up there, but it was a flat building, and we would just all jump, teleport, fly up to the rooftop of this building, and stand around the rooftop, and as we were in our base, quote unquote, That base was on the top floor of that building. Like the Baxter building, the top 4 floors of Fantastic Four's base. Well, the top 2 floors of that building, I think, were our base, and one floor was like living area, and the other floor we had labs and we had a meeting room, and we would just role play. And if we like, the rooftop was, say, I don't know, the size of this area. So let's say the group is over here where Marauder is, and we're having a meeting, and somebody says, oh, I'm going to go to the lab, and they would just come over here, right? And they'd be away for a while, and then they come back from the lab and say, here's what I found out, right? So they didn't give us a base, and we had a base anyway in character, right? And so my point is, players can make what they want of a game, and if they want to call it a certain thing or do a certain thing with it, there's really nothing you can do to stop it. And as a game company, I would argue maybe you should just let them do it. So if people want to call it 5.5e, just go with it. And so the one person was saying, like, why the change? Well, because the reason they didn't want to call it a new edition was because they didn't want to lose sales of 5th edition products while 5.5e was announced, right? They know that if they had announced in early 2024 that at the end of the year we're releasing the 5.5 edition, sales of 5e would have cratered, right? And they didn't want to lose 3/4 of a year worth of sales, maybe longer if they announced it earlier. I can't remember exactly when they announced it, but they didn't want to lose a year of sales. So they said it will be fully compatible. It won't be a new edition. It's just going to be like a 2024 anniversary reprinting, kind of, right? They insisted that it would not be a new edition. This is annoying because now you can't do any damage to him for a while. Hopefully it won't last as long as the overload has to go. Anyway, so they were trying really hard to make the sales of the old edition still go, so they couldn't call it a new edition because it's known in gaming that when you announce a new edition, the old edition sales stop. Right? All, not just the original books, right, but all of the other products would crater because they would the players would be afraid that what they're buying isn't going to be compatible in 6 months. Right? So I'll wait for the new edition becomes the general idea, right? And so then it came out, they kept insisting it's not a new edition, right? But one of the problems they had was then, since it's not a new edition, people are like, why am I buying it, right? Yeah, it sold, but it didn't sell as well as they were hoping. And whatever sales they've gotten out of that edition, they've gotten. So that's not the end of the story. Okay. Whatever sales they could have gotten out of that edition, they've gotten. And anybody who would have been scared off by it being a new edition has already either bought or not bought. Right? And so at this point, it really doesn't do them any good to insist that it's not another edition when everybody knows that it is. And so they finally caved in and started calling it 5.5e. Here's the final chapter. We're going to save Posy. And I think we're okay on... I don't think we need... We are fine on damage and yellows. We're alright. We should be good, guys. And this is where we have Manticore with us. And he's going to aggro everything. And we're overloading. But that's alright. So yeah, I mean, it's sort of like the old military saying, no battle survives contact with the enemy. No battle plan survives contact with the enemy. You plan to do something, but when the enemy is there, they're going to counteract what you were planning, and you're going to have to revise it anyway. And the game master saying is, no scenario or adventure or module or whatever survives contact with the player characters. They're going to do something different. They're going to come at it sideways. Their ideas are going to come out of left field. So you know, there's nothing you can do about that. That's just because you can't know what other people are going to do, and no RPG designer's plan survives contact with the players. Let's see, this is 339. Let's try hasten. Does it actually shorten things? It does to 242. Okay. Just want to get this back up because we're going to need it when we fight the final battle to save positron. Yep. Now, one advantage of Manticore is since he's a long-range character, he's less likely to start aggroing things from before I'm ready. He'll still do it, but he's not as annoying as the others because he's a long-range fighter. Where did he go? Where the heck is he? I don't even see him. Where are you? Oh, there you are. Oh, he turns invisible. That's right. He has stealth. Go away. I'm trying to turn that off. Stop. Okay. That's right. I forgot. He also does some stealth stuff. So he's not as annoying as the other NPCs. He's annoying, but not as bad as the other NPCs. Oh man, some of these sound effects are so cool. Every once in a while when I'm playing COH, I just sort of sit back and just appreciate, when I'm not narrating for you guys, I just sort of sit back and appreciate just how great the visuals and the sound design and everything were for a 2004 game. I know some of this is updated because this is the Praetorian stuff which came out in like 2010 or 9 or whatever, but still, for a game, even this stuff is all like 15 years old, and it's still awesome. I can't think of another game that holds up as well as COH that's as old as COH. Yeah, see, there's an aggro. He shouldn't have been doing that. So he just over aggroed. So let's see, are we going this way or the other way? Man, I love assassinating guys. It's just so cool. It's just, you have that little, you pull back and you go, and then poosh, and do this awesome amount of damage. Super fun. You know, for all the talk we've had about whether Stalkers are good at soloing or not, I don't know if I've stressed it enough. Yes, they're very good at soloing, but screw that. They're fun to solo. Right? Good, bad is much less important than fun, and these guys are just amazingly fun to play. Yeah, second favorite AT behind the Scrapper. And very, very close second. Like, right there. Brutes too. Like, they're just, the melee damage dealers are just super fun. And Stalkers do get that extra bit with hiding and the assassin striking. Man, it's fun to do. Except when it misses. That's okay. Look at that crit. I still almost one-shotted him with Midnight Grasp. Where'd Manticore go? Oh, is he with me? Yeah, okay. See, he keeps vanishing and I keep losing him. That's why I'm checking him up on the map, because... Dude, you're not supposed to disappear from your own teammates. Here we are. Alright, now this is going to be a pain, because we got to, like, we're going to have to pull the room. This part's okay, but as we get closer to the fire pits, we're going to have to pull. And you got to watch Manticore because he does these AoEs, and if he gets, If he gets these guys into his AoE, it's going to aggro the whole room. So let's just do some pulling. I-beams for the win. I don't use them a lot, but they're quite useful. There's Manticore right there. Stealth with me. One of the few NPCs that's not super annoying because he does have the stealth. I mean, he does some annoying stuff. They all do, but... Man, we're very close. I think we will level up when we finish this story arc. Come with me. Come over here. What else have we got? Again, guys, you break line of sight to force them to come to you. They'll get one hit on you. They always get the retaliatory hit. But if you break line of sight, they will move in to reach you, and then you just smack when they get to you. And that dun-dun-dun is his leadership, Manticore's. I didn't mean to do that. I was trying to move it. And there's that guy, the Olympian Guard. Oh, there's still some guys over here. Alright, let's clean this up. Look how close. We're almost level 50, guys. This is pretty cool. And that is what every summon thing should do. When its summoner is gone, they should deactivate. Alright, I'm going to let Manticore take these guys out, and I'm going to focus specifically on Olympian Guard. Which is Positron. Isn't he? Right? Isn't he evil Positron? Or no, evil Positron is Neutrino or something, isn't it? I can't remember now. Manticore should be able to take out the other two guys, so hopefully he will do that. And Olympian Guard is going down. Got him. Positron, we rescued you. Hey, buddy. You're welcome, Positron. I stopped the clockwork version. That's it, the clockwork version of him. Yes, I stopped him. We got some reward merits. We'll get our story arc XP, and that might level us up, guys. Because we need... how much? Just 11,000, almost certainly. And that's it. We have leveled up to level 50. We have maxed out. No XP is possible. Well, actually, XP is possible. You can get to veteran levels, but we are not doing veteran levels with this character because I want to play a Sentinel. And we've done what we wanted to do. So we're going to just finish her out. Put the last red fortune on her. And we're good to go. I think we'll do one mission. Incandescent. I feel like we had a character in my supergroup named Incandescent. Alright, so we're going to finish that. And I'm going to go ahead and put those guys on. And then we will slap that on there. And then do the base. Oops. Oh wait, we're overloading. Hang on. Let's let that go. You see that map loading? Please wait. Man, when the game first launched, sometimes that map loading please wait would sit there and sit there and sit there and sit there, and then map server disconnect. And sometimes that would happen multiple times. Okay. Here's some damage. Oh wait, we have 50. 150 and 145. Okay, that's good enough. So we're just going to go ahead and crank the damage. So we're now going to be doing 108 damage per shot. And we don't need that. And no, I don't need the influence for it. We're not going to worry about selling it. Let's turn our stuff on. And we are going to play one more mission, guys, at level 50 with all of our enhancements set. But I don't want to get into a story arc, so I'm going to just do a detective mission from Peregrine Island. Like this thing. Okay, so what have we got? We've got Circle of Thorns. We've got Circle of Thorns, and we've got Arachnos. I guess we're going Arachnos because I hate the Circle. I like the Circle, but now let's do Arachnos. We'll fight Lord Recluse's goons one more time as our final mission as a level 50 Stalker with all of our enhancements finished, all of our set bonuses in. We have 72% global recharge improvement and 1.79x global accuracy base before everything else. We should be hitting everything. And guys, why not? Let's turn it up to +4. There shouldn't be an elite boss in here, so we should have no problem with it. And we did pretty well against the +3 elite bosses anyway, so let's play our final mission on +4 with all of our enhancements set. Everything will be purple. These guys are in fact +4s. I thought this was Circle of Thorns. Did I misread that? Huh. Okay. Can't one-shot them at +4, notice. Not unless you do some other damage enhancement. Oh no, I thought this was Didn't they say we were going up against Arachnos? Did I choose the wrong one? +5! This is a +5 enemy, guys. We have 89% chance to hit a +5. But you can see it takes a lot more damage to take him out. So let's see how we do +4 with build-up. Yeah, it's about 3/4. Yeah, I don't normally do +4s. And no, guys, I wasn't going to do +4 times 8. That's silly. It would take forever. I don't know that we could. I don't think this character could do +4 times 8. I think that would be too much. But, whoops, we can do, well, yeah, we can do +4. Level 55, this is a +5 illusionist. Good Lord. You can see how much more damage they resist. +5 minion. Can't even one-shot them. That's because of the damage reduction. Now with build-up you could. But this is just for funsies. I could have sworn this said we were going after Arachnos. Did I click the wrong thing? I don't know. We will need overload for a boss at this level if it's +5. So one of the things too is the way they scaled things, right? If you look at, say, the resistance versus level. So if this is a graph, right? And so on this axis is how much it resists you, and this is your level. +0, +1, +2, +3, +4, and +5 over here, right? It goes like this, and then when it hits +5, it spikes, right? Like over here, it would just go. So it's like if it's 10% per level, yeah, but then at +5, it becomes like 20% or something. So let's take a look. The easy way to do this will be with Shadow Maul. That's a lieutenant. That's a minion. Let me see if I can. Let me wander around and see if I can find guys to calibrate this. That's a minion. 54. 54. Is everybody 54 in here? Darn. Okay, well, I guess I can't show you. What I was going to do was show you. We'll do Shadow Maul against 54, and if we see a 55, we'll check it. Let's do the lieutenant first, and then we'll worry about the minion. Okay, so Shadow Maul against one of these guys, each blow is doing 11 per hit. Right, so if you want to take a look at what that's doing in terms of the damage reduction, right, Shadow Maul's damage per hit, it should be 22. So they have 50% damage resistance to it, damage reduction, whatever you want to call it. That's just a plain old minion. Now, if we can find a 55, then we can compare. But so if you figure that's about average is about 12% per level, right? Times 4 levels to get to about 50%, right? So just thinking about it that way. And why was that 13? Because we have this damage thing running. So thinking about it that way, then you would expect the 55s, there's the boss, you would expect the level 55s to take 12% less, that we should be doing, we should be doing 40% damage to them instead of 50%, right? So that it would go down from 11 damage to, say, 9 damage a shot. But it doesn't. I think it goes down more, so it's going to be like 7 damage a shot or something. But we got to find some level 55s to try it on. Alright, so here's our boss. We're going to have to overload. Since she's +4, go ahead and put hasten on. And Assassin Strike her. We're ignoring the minion. Yeah, she's going to put nasty stuff out. These guys are always really frustrating. Mostly because of all the spam and all the crap that shows up. And you're like... It's hard to figure out what's what. Because of the way... Just the way the UI is and everything. Fortunately, if you just keep her targeted and you don't switch targets, you're pretty much okay. Right? Just don't switch targets. Do not resist the temptation to try and target somebody else. Because, I hate when they hover up and do this. Oh wait, my beams do more damage now. Unaffected, of course. Let's see if I can get her to come over here. Pain in the neck. Just come down so I can stop jumping around. It's such a pain. Alright, so she's done, and then the minion. And that's the mission. Now, I do want to see, while we're in here, are there any level 55s left that we can test Shadow Maul on? Oh, it doesn't look like it. Shame. Alright guys, let's head out. I'm not interested enough in testing it that I'm going to try another mission just to fool with that. You can look it up, go to the wiki, and it'll tell you exactly how much reduction it is per level. Alright folks, I think we're basically finished with this character. We have successfully completed a +4 mission. You could probably see why I didn't want to keep it on +4. It's not that I couldn't do it, right? And if I weren't narrating it, I probably would have had it on +4 for a while. But while narrating and stuff, it makes it a little bit overly, sort of unnecessarily challenging. It just makes it all take longer. And then I have to be overly careful, which I can do when I'm not talking to you guys. But if I'm chatting about 5th edition D&D or something, I can't be that careful while dividing my attention to that. So that's why I didn't put it on +4 earlier. So our character is done, guys. I hope you have enjoyed this character's playthrough. I absolutely did. As I said, the Stalker is one of the most fun archetypes, right up there with Scrappers to me, to solo. In some instances, it's even more fun, because like the really annoying missions, you can just stalk them. I absolutely love that, and I love assassinating things. It's really fun. It's kind of evil to assassinate things, but it's fun. So I really enjoy them. So let's take a look, one final look at our character. This is what we've got. I don't think we need to move this. I never bothered to put recharges on haste, and I guess I should have, but I don't use it that much, so I'm not going to worry about it. So this is what we have. If you want to copy this build, if you liked what you saw, right here is what we've got. And it really did me well, and I really enjoyed it. And I hope you've enjoyed it too. And until we get to our Sentinel, until next time, I am Scrapperlock, and I am signing off from soloing the Stalker on City of Heroes.